How are you guys? All right. I'm here to respond to. There's a video I'm going to play. Okay. I'm going to play a video and I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys I'm going to respond to that particular video. Dino Melaye granted an interview. I saw an interview Dino Melaye granted where he referred Obi as a regional champion, to quote him. So I watched that video, but I'm just going to concentrate. I'm not going to post the whole full video. I'm just going to post a section of that particular interview where he made that statement that Obi is a regional champion. I don't know why some people on that interview he claims to be a saint, or that he's well made, he has arrived, he knows better. This man, Dino Melaye, in the beginning of his career as a senator, all the performances he did at the Senate, I did give him a little bit of respect that he's speaking against corruption in Nigeria. But as time goes on, I see that he has lost his relevance. He has lost his relevance in terms of politics, and I will call him a caricature, because in politics, you can't be subservient to one person throughout your life. Since I know Dino Melaye in politics, he has been subservient or subjected himself to be under Atiku. And that's one thing I find with some, when I say Nigerian politics or Nigerian democracy, I don't know why some people tend to be allowed to be lord upon them, that without them, they cannot stand on their own. You can't have your own mind, that you are flexible. As time goes on, things changes, you evolve, your opinions change, and then look some other ways. You can acquaint yourself with one political leader, support him or support his career for a couple of times, one or two, but if things didn't work out, then you can try to evolve yourself to see if you can find a common interest somewhere. But one thing I find about Nigerian politics is that when somebody has been lord over them, it's like all their life is under the hands of that particular individual. Since I know Dino Melaye, he has been what name should I use to qualify it? He has been an errand boy. I'll use the boy, that cliche boy. He's not yet a man, because a man would have a reasonable sense of reasoning not to call somebody who has attained that height of P2B as a regional champion. He called himself an educated individual, but from that interview, I find him to be elusive and uneducated. Because in this present situation we are in, man, for you to refer, if we put Obi and I put Dino Melaye side by side and try to do comparison in terms of whatever you could take, we compare both of them, Obi stood far, far, far beyond the level where Dino Melaye is. Okay, but when he used that word as Obi as a regional champion, by using Awolowo, Aminu Kano, and some other people to qualify that sentence not to be racial or tribalistic, is bewildering, because he throws in, after making that comment, he used Awolowo and other people just to qualify it, so they wouldn't seem as being a tribalistic sentiment against the East. But we all know the game he's trying to play. So I find him, I don't find him as somebody who can, he doesn't have a mind of his own. He's irrational in thinking. Even in the depth of politics, he's shallow. In the depth of politics, he's shallow, because the way he talks and the way he reasons, politicians don't talk that way. There should be a kind of, decorum when addressing a fellow colleague of yours. But when you start using an insultive and degrading words to refer to somebody who has attained that height as a regional champion, I find it degrading and insulting. So that is why I say I'm going to respond to that interview. Okay, I'm going to respond to that interview and then give you guys my own opinion and analysis. I try to use a subtle word, not to be insulting or disrespectful, but my opinion, my strong response to whatever he said in that interview is based on my own. I put it point by point, analyze my issues point by point. As I said, I try to be fair, okay, in analyzing my point and responding to certain issues of national interest. So I'm going to play that video. You get that's that clip. For those that have not watched that interview of Dino Melaye where he referred Peter Obi as a regional champion, I'm going to play that clip. And once you guys finish watching that clip, I will come back after that video to give you guys my own full rebuttal and response to that particular interview. And then I'm going to put him to his place. Okay? And that is why I feel he's just been petty and jealous that Obi from nowhere has risen to that national level while he has been there carrying back for Atiku, believing that Atiku can make him to be a governor of Kogi State or whatever. I don't know, whatever he's hoping that if Atiku goes in there, he can become a minister and then continue looting the resources of Nigeria. So guys, I want you guys to watch the video and I'm going to come back and then I will address that issue in my rebuttal. I use it as strong-worded sentences or narratives, in my opinion, to that particular interview. I believe you guys are going to follow me, and after that, after my response to that, you guys can leave your comment on the video and I'll read from you guys, and I'll see if possible I'll respond. So here is the video. It's going to play next, and please stay tuned. As soon as the video finishes playing, I'm going to come back in the video and I'll give you guys my own response. All right, so here is the video.
Atiku is a nationalist. Obi is a regional champion. It may sound awkward. It may sound offensive. Obi is a good man. He's my friend. I have respect for him. But he's a regional champion. And no regional champion in this country will ever be president. Awolowo, fantastic man. Brilliant. Exquisite. Cosmopolitan. Leader par excellence. But was a regional champion. Contested for the presidency of this country. He could only win convincingly only in the Southwest, because he's not a nationalist in that regard of politics.
Okay, Mr. Dino Melaye, Nigeria has moved beyond the politics of regional champion. Mr. Dino Melaye is entitled to his own political opinion, but Nigerians are equally entitled to challenge the assumptions behind it. Calling Peter Obi a regional champion and declaring that he cannot win a presidential election is not an electoral fact. It is a political prediction. And predictions should never be presented as though they are constitutional laws or historical certainties. The Nigerian presidency is not won by the political commentators, declaring who can or who cannot win it. It is won by Nigerians at the ballot box. What is particularly interesting is that his argument has been made before. Remember that? In the run-up of 2023 elections, Dino Melaye argued that Peter Obi could not win, described the Obido movement as a temporary phenomenon, and predicted that Atiku Abubakar will win. Historically, history ultimately demonstrated that Nigerian politics can, be far less predictable than political strategies imagine. All right? So with respect, Nigeria should ask, if political predictions were enough to determine presidential elections, why would we still need elections? The regional champion argument also deserves serious examinations. Peter Obi's political support in 2023 was certainly strongest in the Southeast, but that does not make him exclusively a Southeastern politician. He won Lagos, one of the country's most politically important states, and then the home state of the then APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu. He also won the Federal Capital Territory, and his movement attracted significant support among young Nigerians across different regions. That is not proof that Obi will win in 2027. I beg to differ. But it is equally not evident that he cannot win. Okay? And that is the distinctions that matters. A serious political analysis should be asking, can Peter Obi build sufficient national support by 2027? Not has Dino Melaye already decided that he cannot. There is another problem with using historical figures as proof that Obi cannot win. Nigeria's political history has never been a fixed mathematical formula. Political calculations or political coalitions change. Voters change. Parties collapse and new ones emerge. Candidates who were previously considered unelectable sometimes become a president. Indeed, Muhammad Buhari himself lost presidential elections before eventually winning in 2015 after building a broader political coalition. Melaye himself used Buhari political evolutions to argue that a national coalition building matters. But that history cut both ways. Okay? If Buhari could transform his political fortunes through coalition building, why should Nigerians be told that Peter Obi is permanently trapped inside a regional political box? Nigeria is not a political museum. The electorate of 2027 will not necessarily behave like the electorate of 2023, 2019, or 2015. And there is something else Mr. Melaye is arguing overlook. National spread is not the same thing as national acceptance. A political party can have offices in every state and still lose the confidence of Nigerians. A candidate can have governors, senators, party structures, and enormous financial resource and still fail to inspire ordinary voters, like what happened in Osun State. Conversely, a candidate can begin with a relatively modest political structure and build a national movement because citizens believe that candidates represent something different, and that is what Obi represents. That is exactly why the growth of the Obi movement deserves serious political analysis rather than ridicule them. Peter Obi does not need to convince every Nigerian. He needs to convince enough Nigerians in enough states to satisfy the constitutional requirement and win the election. And that is an entirely different propositions from saying he cannot win. There is also a lesson in Nigerian history that political elites should never forget. The Nigerian voter is not permanently owned by any region, party, religion, ethnicity, or political godfather. People move. Political loyalties change. Young voters become first-time voters. Economic circumstances influence voting behaviors. Candidates improve their national structures. Coalition forms. And political establishments sometimes discover too late that the people they assumed were politically irrelevant had become the decisive electoral force. Therefore, Mr. Melaye is free to campaign for whoever he believes should become the president of Nigeria. He is free to argue that Atiku, Tinubu, or any other candidate is better than Peter Obi. But history's reckon. But the claim that Peter Obi cannot win should be treated for what it is political jamboree, a political opinion, not a prophecy. If Mr. Melaye believes Obi cannot win, then let the politicians compete for the vote of Nigerians and allow Nigerians to decide. Do not tell Nigerians what they are permitted to believe. Do not define a candidate's electoral ceiling before the campaign has even been fought. All right? And do not confuse the strength of political structure with the strength of the public sentiment. The real question for 2027 is not whether Peter Obi is a regional champion. Okay? The real question is, can Peter Obi build a sufficiently broad national coalition, present a compelling program argument, win enough vote across Nigeria, and satisfy the constitutional requirement to become president? Okay? The question can only be answered by the Nigerian electorate and not by Melaye. Not Dino Melaye, not Peter Obi, not Atiku Abubakar, not Bola Tinubu, not the APC, not the ADC, not the PDP will determine who governs them at the executive. The Nigerian people will decide, as shown in Osun election. The people owns the power and they decide who to give the power. And that is precisely what democracy is supposed to be about. Okay? So, Melaye, I'm being gentle and subtle with my words. I don't want to use strong words or harsh words to respond to your criticism and calling Obi a regional champion. But just one thing you have to know. Learn a lesson from Osun election that happens tonight. With all the federal might, the political structure, the machineries, the finances, the funds that were made available, still the people decide. who governs them in Osun State. And that should be a lesson for every commentator, political commentator, or for every political party, whether you are in the incumbent, to know that when the people have risen and said enough is enough, they can withdraw their power from you and give it to whom they want to govern them in the executive. So calling Peter Obi a regional champion is a petty jab with a man with little knowledge of politics, who have mistakenly find themselves in the corridors of power. You've tested corridor of power just a little, and now you feel you've grown to throw a political jab because of his sudden rise to prominence while you are still being a paper boy carrying bag for Atiku. That is the class where you belong. Okay, you still belong to a paper boy carrying bag for Atiku, because that is the range at which your faculty, the limit it can go. You cannot think beyond Atiku because you think Atiku is your God, your all and all. Without him, you cannot, attain the prominent, the political offices you deserve to be in Nigeria. So you need an elevation. You need an elevation from somebody to elevate you to that height, to the pinnacle of corridors of power where you can enjoy and embezzle the Nigerian resources. Peter Obi have shown that he doesn't need an elevation to rise, but he needs the masses who believes in him to push him to that pinnacle, to the seat of power, and then change how Nigerian is governed. So that is my response to your criticism. I'm being gentle with my words in addressing with what he says. So friends, I'm going to leave it here. If you find it worthy and interesting, leave a comment for me, and also do not forget to share. All right, do not forget to share. If you have not followed me on my page, please do follow me on my page. Okay, so stay tuned for my next response rebuttal in other areas of national interest. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.